And welcome to the University of Pennsylvania Master of Environmental Studies information session. My name is Dr. Yvette Bordeaux, and I am the director of the Master of Environmental Studies program, as well as the Master of Science in Applied Geosciences in the Department of Earth and Environmental Science at Penn. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the program, give you some of the details of what we do here, and feel free to put some comments or questions in the Q&A box that you can find by clicking down at the bottom of your screen. And yeah, we'll get started. Whoops. Okay, so a little bit about our program. We started this program in 1996, so we have over 20 years of environmental excellence, and we are part of the School of Arts and Sciences and in the Department of Earth and Environmental Science. The department is located in Hayden Hall, which you can see here. Lovely picture from the summer. And we hope to be back in the building soon. As you know, with COVID, we are remote for the most part, so hoping to be back soon. All right, now this is a professional master's program, and I did want to clarify that for everyone. So there are research masters and there are professional masters. Research masters are preparing you solely and specifically for a PhD program, or to work in a research, like a think tank or something like that. Professional masters can prepare you for both, but we have more of a focus on helping you find a job. Okay, so we're looking to get you a career after you graduate, as opposed to getting you into a PhD program. We can still do that, and we've had plenty of students who have either gone directly into a PhD program after our program, or have gone out, worked for 2 to 3 years, and then come back and applied and gotten into PhD programs. So we've had both opportunities for students, and they've done well in both tracks. But we do have more of a professional focus. Which means that we are really working on your skills and more of an applied approach to what you learn in the program, as opposed to theoretical. All right. Most of the career areas, and I will get into the specifics later, but are in private corporations, government, nonprofits, NGOs, that sort of thing. I have some pictures here for you to look at as well for each slide. Here's one of our classes, Intro to Sustainability, and they attended the Sustainable Brands Conference, which was in Philadelphia, and they really enjoyed that. So, all right, next, why study environmental studies in Philadelphia? Well, first of all, we in Philadelphia, the Philadelphia Water Department has really focused on their stormwater management by using green infrastructure rather than gray infrastructure. So green infrastructure means using green roofs, swales, rain gardens, and other types of green methods of controlling stormwater, rather than the gray methods, which would be pipes and vats and that sort of thing. So we have a lot of really great resources and opportunities to get involved with green infrastructure right here in Philly. By the way, if you look in the chat room, I forgot to introduce Sally Carty. Sally Carty is our administrative director here at Penn for the master's programs, and she is also putting lots and lots of great links for you about these things in the chat room.
Hey, everybody.
Sorry about that, Sally. Okay, so going on why Philly, we have the city of Philadelphia has a cabinet level position called the Sustainability Office, which means that they feel that sustainability is important enough to be at cabinet level, which is really unusual for a city, and I think it's an important step. There's an energy office in Philly. There's a Solarize Philadelphia project going on to put solar panels on the roofs of homes across the city, not just on the expensive homes, but also on homes that are lower income. And we have the U.S. Forest Service Urban Research Station located in Philly. So lots of great opportunities to work in the community and with organizations like the city and the U.S. Forest Service on some really fantastic projects. Now, what about Penn? Penn itself is actually doing a lot in environment. So this is a picture of Penn Park, which is not only a wonderful facility for athletics, but it is also a green infrastructure project. So it's actually its main function is to control stormwater runoff from the campus. We have a 300-acre campus. All 12 schools at the university are on the same campus, so 300 acres, and we have to manage our stormwater because the city is requiring it. So we have to make sure that the water that's running off the campus does not end up in the Schuylkill, which is the front of the picture there, the brown water, that's the Schuylkill River. And so there are actually vats underneath the playing fields that collect stormwater and allow it to percolate it to the ground. And we use some of it to water the lawns on the campus. So pretty neat state-of-the-art system. So that's one thing that Penn is doing, and you can get involved in looking at that particular place, the Penn Park. And one of the projects that university has been wanting us to do, get students involved in making sure that this is actually working properly and giving it, you know, a grade. How is it doing? Our president, Penn President Gutman, has signed the American College and University President's Climate Commitment back in 2007. So we're committed to reducing our carbon emissions. And we are actually on Climate Action Plan 3.0, which includes a lot of great areas that need to be worked on around the university. And so lots of projects available to our students. So we also have green infrastructure projects like Shoemaker Green, which is you can see here. Shoemaker Green was designed to reduce stormwater runoff on the campus. And it's a beautiful park now, but it also controls stormwater. There's a rain garden. There's vat underneath the green space, and lots of really neat features that that you can see. But we also have the Penn Park, which you saw on the last slide, and Nanotechnology Building, which is a brand new building. So all buildings that are new buildings that are put up in the city of Philadelphia now are required to have a green infrastructure management plan in place before they're approved to be built. So this is a really neat thing. We also have over 6,000 trees on our 300-acre campus. We are actually now an official arboretum, which is really neat. And we've actually had students do projects that include actually cataloging all 6,000 trees, putting them into a system so that you can go around the campus and you can click on a dot and you can see what that tree is and the health of it, the age of it, and any fun facts about it. So we actually had students work on that as a project over the course of 2 or 3 years. And but there's also urban forestry projects involved with these trees. And we also have opportunities to work on building energy plans if you're more into sustainability. So lots and lots of great things available to you on an urban campus. Also within the Department of Earth and Environmental Science, we have something called the Water Center at Penn. And this is an opportunity for you to work with faculty and outside groups on water policy, if you're interested in that, hydrology, water infrastructure, again, green infrastructure, very big in Philadelphia right now. So lots and lots of really neat things related to water that you can get involved with through the center. Student opportunities for funding for projects, internships, and you can attend conferences and seminars related to water. So lots and lots of fun. And we invite you to check out their website. It's fantastic. Other groups around Penn that you can get involved with, the Climate Center for Energy Policy. It's at the School of Design, and they work with faculty and industry on energy policy issues, energy sustainability, and renewable energy. Okay, and they often have student opportunities, which include attending seminars with speakers from around the world. They have paid internships, particularly in the summer, and they have research opportunities that you can get involved with. So check them out. Again, Sally's putting all of these links in the chat room so you can check those out. Then there's the Wharton Risk Management and Decision Process Center. So the Wharton School of Business at Penn has this disaster risk center, and they have opportunities for students to do research, attend seminars and conferences as well. So really opportunities abound on the campus to do anything that you're interested in that's environmental related. It's a really exciting time to be here at Penn. Faculty in Earth and Environmental Science include both our research faculty and our professional faculty. So you have the opportunity to take classes with both. So our research faculty are the folks who are doing the more theoretical cutting edge research. Some of them are working in the lab, some are working in the field. You can get involved with them. Some of the focus areas include soils, atmospheric chemistry, and environmental geochemistry. But you also can work with professional faculty, and these folks are coming from places like Willistown Conservation Trust, who's working on conservation projects, the Suez Water, if you want to learn more about water and water management. US EPA, right? Region 3 of the US Environmental Protection Agency is right here in Philadelphia, and we have several folks who teach courses for us who work there or are retired from there, okay? We have people from environmental consulting companies, from Applied Ecological Services, and the World Resources Institute. So really a great set of esteemed faculty that are here to teach you about the issues that we hope that you're most interested in, right? Now, the curriculum is multidisciplinary, all right? And that's because we're the environment, right? And the environment in and of itself is interdisciplinary. So we need to really make sure that you are understanding a lot of different areas: policy, sustainability, resource management, and so forth. So we make sure that you have a good, solid grounding in one area, but that you also get some more breadth to your program to understand your issue more. So the program's tailored to your goals and your background. So we look at what you came in with. People come in with different majors, different experiences, and we look at where they're headed, what kind of goal, what kind of position are they looking for, and then we work with you to figure out what courses, experiences, research you need to get from where you are to where you want to be. All right, so everyone's individualized in that sense. And it's worked out really well, okay, for students. Here's a picture of Keon Monroe downloading data from our MODIS array. Our MODIS array is an antenna that tracks tagged birds, and there are a lot of really neat projects around this project that include not only working with birds, but also working with data analysis, mapping, and so forth. So lots of opportunities there. In fact, Keon actually did a project with the MODIS Tower, with the MODIS Consortium, which was a data project helping researchers understand how to pull data and how to use the data more effectively. And that actually helped them get a job at a position that had nothing to do with birds. So very neat. So our curriculum, what do we do for the courses? There's a 12-course program, what we call CUs, and it's equivalent to 36 semester hours, all right? There are 3 required courses: the Pro Seminar, which is where when you come into the program, it's the first course you take in the program, you take it with me, and we look at environmental issues, and we also help you if you do not have a science background. This is where you're going to learn about issues or areas like the hydrosphere, the atmosphere, the biosphere, and so forth, okay? And then we will be talking about current issues in environmental studies. So if you've had that stuff before and it's review, that's okay, because part of the class is the review, and then the second part of the class is learning about these issues. And if you haven't had this before, this will be a great introduction to help you with all of the other classes you take in the program. All right. There's also research methods. This is a course that's going to help you do your research. And the Capstone Seminar. The Capstone Seminar helps you pick your topic, find your readers, and then get your proposal approved so that you can start doing your work. This is also different from a research master's. In most research masters, they expect that you're going to, before you even apply, that you've identified an advisor you're going to work with, you've identified a project you want to work on, and that so before you even apply, you already know all of that stuff. With our program, what we want you to do is get admitted to the program, come to the first semester, take classes, go to seminars, meet the faculty, learn about all the projects available to you. And in your second semester, you choose your topic, your advisors, and you go from there. Okay. So it gives you time to really get to know everyone and really narrow down your focus on what you want to do for your research. So you also need to do 4 foundation classes and 5 concentration classes. So let's talk about the concentration first. So there are 6 options for you. You can do environmental biology, environmental sustainability, policy, resource management, urban environment, resilience and adaptation, or if you don't like any of the above, you can also do individualized. All right. So you choose one of these tracks and you'll take 5 courses in that area. And so we designate certain courses as being in one of these categories. And the options that you have are not just within our department. So certainly we have courses that you can take in all of these areas in our department, but you can also take courses. Up to 4 of your 5 concentration courses can be outside of our department. So they could be in the biology department, in arts and sciences. They could be in the urban studies department, but they could also be in the Wharton School of Business. They could be in the School of Design. They could be in the School of Engineering. So you actually can choose 4 of your 5 courses outside of the School of Arts and Sciences, which gives you some really great opportunities to learn more about your field. So if you're interested in business and sustainability, you can take some Wharton business classes. All right. So we have a list of pre-approved courses that you can take, and these courses we know you can get into and do well in, even though you're sitting in the class with MBA students. You can take courses at the law school, and even though you're sitting in classes with JD students, we know you'll do well. And then there's courses on environmental law, land use law, and energy law. So there's really some really great opportunities. And now you don't just take random courses that sound like fun. You have an academic advisor that when you come into the program, you're immediately assigned to an academic advisor who is an expert in your area, your concentration area. And that person will sit down with you, look at your background, look at where you want to go, and figure out what set of courses are going to make the most sense to help you reach your goal. All right. So in that way, even though there may be everyone in here, there's like 20 plus people here, if you were all environmental sustainability, you might not all be taking the same set of courses, because some of you maybe already have a background in sustainability, maybe you've worked in sustainability. So your set of courses is going to be different than someone who is doing a career change or started out with a degree in political science and now wants to change and go into sustainability. So we're going to work with you no matter what your background is and where you're headed. All right. So you have help throughout the process. The other, I just want to quickly mention the foundation. So you had the 5 concentration courses and the 4 foundation courses. Now, those 4 foundation courses are outside of your concentration area. So say you chose policy as your concentration, you would take 4 courses that are not in policy. Okay. So you might in fact take a sustainability class, maybe an urban environment class. And again, the 4 that you choose will be based on your goals, right? So you may be an environmental policy concentration and you need to know a little bit more about environmental law. So one of your courses might be environmental law for the foundation. Okay. You may need to know about wetlands because you're going to be looking at environmental policy related to wetlands. So you'll take the wetlands course. That's an environmental biology course. It's in your foundation. All right. So again, you have an advisor that works through the program with you and makes sure that you get all the right courses and that they all align with your goals. You can't just take random courses. That's not what we do. But we'll put together a set of courses that help you reach that goal. All right. Now, a couple of courses that we like to mention are our field courses because they're a lot of fun and interesting. And we do have some really great field courses, which include field study of Puerto Rico ecology, where you actually go to Puerto Rico for a week. But before you go, you have classes to prep you for that. You have guest speakers coming in, talking about the ecology there. And then when you come back, you have follow-up classes where you also work with community groups, Puerto Rican community groups, and talking about what you learned down there and working with some of the kids in the neighborhood and so forth. So it's a lot of fun. There's also the avifaunal ecology course where students learn how to ID birds in the field. You get to see bird banding in action, all sorts of fun things like that. And there's also the Creating Gateways to Smarter Conservation, which is a conservation planning type course. And again, you get to go out and see some of these firsthand, these areas that have been conserved, what they've done. You get to meet with speakers that are knowledgeable in the field and so forth. So really great opportunities there. If you're not really a field person, you're like, yeah, I'm more of a sustainability policy, stay in the office kind of person. We have those sorts of field courses for you too. In this case, there's the World Water Week class where you actually go to Stockholm, Sweden for the World Water Week forum, which is a week-long conference in Stockholm, where leaders from all around the world come to talk about water issues. There's also the Future of Water class. They do trips to Washington, D.C. To meet. They do what they call the day in the life of a lobbyist, where you go around to senators' offices and nonprofits and other places and meet lots of different people who work in this space and see what that's all about. And then we have the world, you notice there's a lot of water focus here. These are just some examples. World Water Forum, which only occurs every 3 years. And again, water experts from around the world come to talk about everything from policy to best practices to science and so forth. And that happens every 3 years in a different country. This year, 2021, it was supposed to be in Senegal. Because of COVID, they chose, rather than run it remotely, to just push it off for a year. So it is now scheduled for spring 2022, and we plan to take a class there. And the class will actually work with people who are presenting at the conference on projects before they head out to the conference. Once you're there, you'll meet with speakers, you'll have to interview speakers, you have to blog about it. So it's a really engaging experience for you. All right, so we're hoping that by 2022, everything will be back to normal and students will be able to attend the conference. There's also a capstone requirement. So this is like a thesis, right? It's unlike a research master's where it's more theoretical, these are more applied projects, right? So we encourage students to find an organization that needs something completed, or that they do a project that is related to the job that they're hoping to get when they finish the program. All right, so they're very applied. We want to focus on your career goals. We want you know, if possible, to work with a potential employer, because oftentimes if you do a project for them and they're very happy with you, they're more likely to hire you. Even if they don't have a position open, they're more likely to hire you afterwards because they say, hey, this person is great and we could really use them here in the company. So it's a really great opportunity to get into an organization. Okay. Um, all right, now some example capstones that we have had in the past, and these are just a few with 6 concentrations. Obviously, there's a huge range, and Sally will put in the chat room a link to what we call Scholarly Commons, which is a place where students can choose to put their capstones up. So there's a few examples there. Not everyone has posted their capstones, but you can see some of them. So some of the things that we've seen are things like energy efficiency financing, case study in agroecology, you know, rows of trees on an urban campus, all sorts of really neat projects out there. So do check those out. Now, so that's the academics, and I want to shift to the professional development, and do feel free to ask questions in the chat or in the Q&A section if you have any. So for our professional development, since we are a professional program, we do have a lot of professional development opportunities. And let's look at, first of all, when you first come into the program, you're admitted to the program and you're wanting to, oh, there was a question about, oh, I see, it's in the chat room. Sorry, I wasn't looking at the chat room. I was just looking at the Q&A room, and there was a question in the chat room. Okay, Katie is asking, is this master's available full-time? Who for students who are working full-time, and that's absolutely the case. Yes, you can go full-time or part-time. You can start full-time and switch to part-time. You can start part-time and switch to full-time. You can do part-time through the whole program. We're very flexible. So all of our classes that we offer are at night after 5 o'clock. So that gives you the opportunity to come into campus, all right, and be able to take classes. We cannot control other schools though. So if you're taking an MBA course or a law class, those are during the day because their students are day students. So you can take those, but if you're working, that may be more challenging to get into those classes because of your work schedule. And let's see, what were the other questions in here? Okay. So Angela, no, actually our program is not an online program at this point. I mean, we're online this semester because of COVID, but we are normally an on-campus program. We're not an online program. We are thinking about that down the road, but it won't be this fall. For example, we'll if the university's back on campus, we will be back on campus as well. We do have a couple of courses that will be offered online in the fall in the sustainability area. We're calling that the Sustainable Campus. But the program itself, right now, you do need to be in Philly and on campus to do it. And then, all right, good. And then I think, are there any other? Okay. I think I got all of those. Are there any courses specifically in biodiversity or wildlife conservation? Certainly, there are some courses in the biology department that are related to biodiversity and but wildlife conservation specifically, no. We have lots of land conservation, land planning, and many of our students are doing capstone projects on wildlife conservation, but there's no specific course on wildlife conservation at this point. That was a good question. Thank you. Okay, so and I'll keep an eye on the chat room now. Sorry about that. For the professional development, some of the things that we do include a first year retreat that is held before you start the program. So it's if you start the program in the fall, that would be in late August on a weekend. You would come in. We usually have this off campus, so it's sort of no distractions. You're just all together so that you get to know each other, network, and so forth. So you'll meet your advisors, your academic advisors, polish your networking skills. We have some fun activities around that. Hear from current students about their experiences in the program, what they're up to, their projects, the classes they've taken, and then all the Penn resources available to you. So that takes a whole day, and it ends with a happy hour. We feed you all day. It's a lot of fun. In about a few months later, in October, we have a second retreat because there's so much information. Yes, so Diana is asking in the chat room, is it not necessary to have an advisor to meet? Absolutely correct. You are assigned an advisor when you start the program. That's the academic advisor. They will help you pick your courses, okay? And in your second semester in the program, that's when you pick your research advisor who will help you with your final capstone project. So we actually prefer you not reach out to the faculty ahead of time. They're used to that. Like they're basically in that second semester, you're taking this capstone seminar course, and that's where you're getting to meet everybody, learn about the projects available, and then you can choose what you want to do. So it's a good question. Okay, so one of the students is asking, Catherine's asking about, is the environmental education advocacy concentration still available? And it's now an individualized concentration. And the reason why we did that is because we had very few courses within our department for environmental education, and we were concerned that students were not getting enough from us. Certainly you can take courses in School of Education here at Penn to supplement courses that you would take in the department, and you can still do it absolutely as an individualized concentration. And we have quite a few students doing that, but it was one of our smaller concentrations. Policy, sustainability, and resource management are our big ones, and resilience and adaptation is a big one now. It just started. But yeah, we did discontinue it as an official concentration, but you can still do it as individualized. And then another student is asking, anonymous is asking if they can personally meet before joining the program. Absolutely. One of the things that we do is once you're admitted to the program, and just if you want to meet before, obviously, but once you're admitted to the program, you meet with your academic advisor, and you're assigned the person whether you accept your offer or not. So you get the offer, you get an offer of admission. We tell you who your academic advisor will be. You can reach out to them right away, meet with them, talk to them, get all the information before you accept your offer. Okay. But if you want to meet with someone before that, like before you even submit an application, totally fine. We can set up a meeting one-on-one, totally fine. Yep. Happy to meet with you. I think, it's very helpful. And again, depending on your interest area, you can meet with me as the director, but you could also meet with one of the individual advisors who advise different different concentrations, because they even have more detailed information about who's in the program, what the students are doing, their research and all of that. So they're great. Okay. Okay. Oh, Sally just answered that one in the chat room. So, okay. All right. I will move on. All right. So our second retreat, and keep the questions coming. This is terrific. I really appreciate you asking the questions. Our second retreat is just focused on research opportunities. So this is your first glance at what's coming in the next semester, what's out there, what students are doing, what faculty are doing, and so forth. And then we also focus on finding the perfect job or internship. This is helpful for students that are just starting. This second retreat is for everybody, first year students, second year students, students who've been here for 3-4 years, they all come to it. So we're helping them find jobs, but it's also helpful for you as a new student to learn about this. And we talk about negotiating salaries if you get a job offer. And then there's an alumni meet and greet at the end of the day. So that's a lot of fun to meet some of the alumni. All right, so we also have an alumni panel every year in the spring, and this is where you hear from program alumni about their current positions, their favorite instructor, courses that help them in the job market. Basically, we have what we call a graduate advisory board, and the students from the graduate advisory board invite the alumni and actually ask the questions, and at the end they open up to the audience so you can ask them anything you want. Okay. And I will move on. So we also offer certifications for students. So if you join the program, you have the opportunity to do certifications such as GRI Global Reporting Initiative certification. And this is a big one in the sustainability field that helps students get jobs. It's a 2-day course and certification test. They just changed up their requirements, and we're looking into that now and seeing what we can do to adjust and make sure that students can get that certification if they want. Valerie Vincent here actually did the GRI certification, and she said that that helps her find her position. So that was pretty neat. We have LEED certification. So if you're familiar with LEED, this is we offer first level of LEED certification, which is called Green Associates. It prepares you for the certification test, which you take after the course. And these are all outside of the normal coursework. So you have your 12 courses that you take in the program, and then we have these additional opportunities, typically on the weekends or on a Friday, where you can do these extra certifications that are helpful. All right. We also have OSHA 40-hour HAZWOPER training. This is handy if you're going into environmental consulting. It's sponsored. We have students that do 32 hours online. That's always been the case. They do 32 hours online, and then we do an 8-hour dress out, right? So it's an 8-hour day in the classroom. We bring the instructor to Penn, and you have to put on a Tyvek suit and a respirator and learn all the hands-on parts of the requirement at this event. So we do that every spring, and it's really great if you're looking to get an internship or a job in environmental consulting to have that on your resume. So we're constantly looking for opportunities to get our students certified in various areas. And we always ask our students, hey, what are you looking for? What can we offer? And we try to do that. So we typically subsidize it heavily. This particular training can be up to $1,000 for a person to do it on their own. And I think we charge students about $200 to do it. So it's heavily subsidized so that you can get these certifications and get moving on. And I think we actually reimburse the $200 if you actually get the certification. So anyway, so those are available. In addition, if you're interested, you can also do a dual degree. Oh, good question. All right, so Jacob, perfect question, because I'm just moving into that right now. I'm going to answer it on the next slide. All right, so hold that question for just a minute. So the dual degree opportunities, there are quite a few at Penn, and actually forgot to put a couple of them in here. We have the Wharton MBA, so you can get the MBA and the Master of Environmental Studies. Law, you can get either a JD and the MES, or you can get the Master of Law and the MES. So depending on your interest there. Master of Public Health, we have a dual degree with them. And we have one with nonprofit leadership, and a couple that I forgot to put on here that are brand new. We have one with the city planning, so you can get city planning and the Master of Environmental Studies. And we have one with the vet school, so if you want to get a VMD and the MES. That's great. We also have one with a Master of Public Administration, MPA. That is not, there's a couple of these that are not on our website yet just because they're brand new and we're just working on the writing up all the description and everything. We also have something called the International Environmental Management, which is a 3-degree program. It's you go to Penn and do 8 courses in our program. Then you go to Tsinghua University in Beijing and you do the program there for 3 months. Then you go to Minprix Tech in Paris for 4 months. You do a 6-month internship, and then you write that up and submit it to all 3 schools. And once it's accepted by all 3 schools, you have a Master of Environmental Studies from Penn, a postmaster's degree in environmental management from Minprix Tech, and a Master of Science in environmental science from Tsinghua University. So 3 degrees and hopefully a job offer from that place that you worked on for your internship. So that's a really neat program. And we usually have about 2 students a year that do that. It's a little bit hard because you have to actually relocate to France for a while and China for a while. And so you're moving around a lot. So only a few students take advantage of that. All right, so then we have certificates. So the School of Design has a certificate in Geographic Information Systems, or GIS, and that's what Jacob asked about. And there's also land preservation, resilience, energy policy, and then the law school has a law certificate. So these are all opportunities. With the certificates, typically the certificate is five courses. All right. We allow 2 of the 5 courses to count towards the Master of Environmental Studies. So you can count them for the Master of Environmental Studies and the certificate, which means you'd have to take an additional 3 courses beyond our 12 to get the certificate. So if you want a certificate, it's 15 courses total as opposed to 12 for just the program. I hope that makes sense, Jacob. So it's not like you have to take 12 and 5. You have to take 15 total. All right. So those are great opportunities. I think the certificates add value to your degree, and again, it's 3 extra courses essentially, so it's not too bad. Although I have to say the GIS certificate, they require you to do a project that's essentially a capstone also, but typically our students have been able to combine and do like 1 project for both the Master of Environmental Studies and for the certificate. So, all right, that leads us to our student groups and what do our students do? Oh, okay. Benjamin's asking about the GIS projects and what they do. So typically it's something like where you do an environmental project, but it has a GIS component to it. So in other words, one of our students looked at with sea level rise, which parts of New Jersey would be getting wetter sooner, and how does that affect wetlands? So as sea level rises, you're getting saltier water inland, and how does that impact freshwater wetland areas? Okay, and so she mapped out the whole coast of New Jersey and did different levels of sea level rise and how far in they would go and how that would impact the saltiness of the water. So that was kind of a fun project. We had another student who did a project where it was Houston, right after Hurricane Harvey. And so he actually mapped, he got an elevational map of the entire city of Houston, which is pretty big. And then he mapped out the water, like he was able to use remote sensing to show where the water levels, what the water levels were across the city, and then show like where areas were dry and where areas were wet. And then he was able to make recommendations about how they could improve their planning and reduce some of that flooding. Okay, so projects like that, where you're combining both your environmental information or skills and your GIS skills. Okay, so quick question from Madison. How do students add the International Environmental Management degree? Does this have to be when you apply for the MES program? Actually, no. So the way that one works, so with most dual degrees at Penn, you do have to apply for them separately, but you do it through the same application, right? So you can go in and apply for them at the same time. With the International Environmental Management program, what you do is you get into Penn, and you're here for the fall, and then the application for the International Management Program is actually in the spring. So it's due the end of February, so it's coming up. So you would come in, and like I said, you have to take 8 courses here before you can get admitted to the other program. So by the time you've gotten to the spring, you've probably gotten like 4 courses in the fall, and you're taking 4 courses then, and then they'll admit you to that program. So you apply in the spring. All right, that's the long answer. And okay, so the other question is from Michael. Says, do you recommend people come in with interests more specific than the concentration course level, or is that kind of projects, job specificity, something you expect to develop in the first semester? So we do like to know where you're headed. In other words, what do you want to do with the degree? And that's actually the third essay in the application is, what do you plan to do with the degree? And we would like to have a good sense of what you want to do with it. You don't have to have a specific project idea at all. We'll help you with that. We'll guide you into different projects, either what we call canned projects, things that are already like running and they need some student to work on it, or you can come up with your own project, and that's totally fine too. But we don't expect you to walk in day one and say, hey, I know what I want to do. And another comment about concentrations, thank you for bringing this up, Michael, is that some students come in and say, hey, I want to be policy. And they get here and they realize, actually, what I really wanted was resource management. Oh, no, what do I do? Totally fine to change. All right. So you have until you finish your 6th course. So that's halfway through the program to change your concentration. So if you discover halfway through, oh, my goodness, I picked the wrong one, it's fine. It's a very easy fix. It doesn't require paperwork. You just meet with your academic advisor. You tell them what you want to do. They say, yep, makes sense. And then we do it for you. Okay, so that's all. It's a very easy process. Hopefully I answered that question for you, Michael. All right, now, for our student groups, we have our graduate advisory board, which I mentioned earlier. We call them the GAB, and they host the alumni panel. Like I said, they pick who comes, which alumni come to these panels. They ask the questions. They run the whole thing. It's lots of fun. They host the coffee hours, which include some yummy donuts, as you can see here, which include vegan and regular donuts, and happy hours. And then they do some fun things depending on what the students are interested in, which might include ice skating, haunted houses, all kinds of fun things. Volunteer work, they do volunteer cleanups and stuff like that. So they host a whole bunch of activities, and the students decide what activities you're going to do. So that's a really great group to get involved with. We also have the WHO Journal of Gender and Water. This is a journal that is published. It's now under the Water Center at Penn, which, like I said, is in our department. We used to actually run it out of the Master of Environmental Studies program, but when the Water Center got going, we said, hey, it makes more sense to put the journal there. And this is really wonderful because the way it works is a researcher from somewhere in the world submits an article for review, hoping to get into the publication, and one faculty and one student review it and decide between them whether that article gets accepted for publication or not. So you're involved, if you join the group, you're involved every step of the way in the publication process. So you give them comments, they give the readers comments, you make recommendations for changes, and then if they make them, then you decide with the faculty member whether or not that person gets to be in the next issue. So you're working as an editor for that journal. So it's the behind the scenes of the journal. If you're interested in doing that kind of work, it's a lot of fun. It's interesting. You can also get involved with blogging for it. You can write articles for it. You can be involved with the layout. There's all sorts of things that you can do. And of course, we teach you all of this stuff. You don't have to come in already knowing how to do it. So that's a great group to get involved with. There's also a lot of opportunities available, which include the student different research opportunities. Like I said, this is why we want you to come in and get to know us and get to hear about all the things that are going on before you pick a topic. So there's the Northern Research Station, which is U.S. Forest Service. There's the Tacony Frankfurt Watershed Partnership and the Stroudwater Research Center. So these are all places nearby that you can do research with. Okay. And there's extracurricular activities, including intractable problems in West Virginia. So this is an area of West Virginia that the EPA has recognized has a problem where they don't have the funding for clean water. So they have no Some of them have no running water in some of these areas, and they don't have the money to put in running water, or they have running water, but it's not being cleaned properly, and they don't have the money to upgrade their facilities. And so students have been working on projects to help for finding funding, for finding solutions to get them running water, and so forth. We also have the EPA Rainworks Challenge. This is the EPA have these student groups get together and come up with projects to control stormwater runoff on their campus. We have the Patagonia case competition, which our students here came in 3rd place last year. It's pretty exciting. This is where they present some sustainability case that they would like something to be fixed in the company, and they ask these student groups to get together and come up with a solution. And so one of our MES students was on the group, along with Wharton students and design students from the School of Design, and also an applied geosciences student from our programs was on the group that won the 3rd place. So that was pretty neat. But there are lots of case competitions also over in the law school, and they often are looking for an environmental student to help them with a portion of that case competition. And we've also had students go down for like AAAS in Washington to join for cases as well. So lots and lots of opportunities there. There are also Energy Club. There's a climate leadership group on campus. Lots and lots of different groups that you can get involved with. There's also publishing opportunities if you're interested in that. If you think you might want to do a PhD down the road, there are opportunities to work with faculty. There are opportunities to publish both your independent studies, your capstones, other projects you might do with faculty. There's opportunities to collaborate with different organizations. So lots and lots of opportunities there. And there's opportunities to present at conferences. So you can do poster sessions or give presentations, and we help students fund their, fund the trip to a conference that they've been accepted to. So that's something that you can do. You can attend special events like our All Ivy Environmental Career Fair. This is a career fair that's hosted by Columbia University in Manhattan every year, and it's only for Ivy League students, and it has companies from all over the world actually that come to this looking for students for jobs and internships. So that's a great opportunity. They did it virtually this year. It was a lot of fun. And there's the Graduate Research Conference, which we host every year, having students present their capstones in a poster, and we invite alumni to come back, and recruiters come in to see the posters, and they have their own tables there as well. So opportunities to get jobs and internships with them as well. So as you can tell, we're really trying to help you find positions and get out there and work. Internships, where have students done internships? Certainly, and this is the thing. So internships can be in the summer, and that's pretty typical, but we also encourage students to look for internships in the fall and spring semesters. And you can do that because our classes are at night, right? So you could actually have a 20-hour-a-week internship by day and take classes by night. So that's an opportunity. If you're a full-time student, you're like, what am I doing with my time if all my classes are at night? Well, first of all, you can take some of the day classes like at the Wharton Business School or the law school or whatnot, but you can also take on an internship, which is pretty neat. And so some of the places that students have done internships locally include the Philadelphia Water Department, the EPA Region 3 office, our Urban Research Station, FMC, which is they have a sustainability office there, and we've had something like 5 students go through that office with internships and then get hired afterwards. And we've had students get internships with like NOAA, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. So, and it was a remote internship, so they were able to continue to be on campus and do the program, and also do this internship. So lots of opportunities there. Yeah. Hi, Catherine. Yeah, we will get information out to you. Absolutely. We'll also post, we have a box, which I think Sally is will post the link to that for our prospective students. It includes not only this session plus the slides from it, but also other sessions that we've had with like potential employers, with information about how to apply for a PhD. All kinds of neat things are in that box, so you can check that out. Right. A little bit about program stats. There's about 96 active students in the program. Some are full-time and some are part-time. We actually have more women than men right now. It's a 67-30-30 split. And the average class size, so if you go to one of our classes, is 18 is our max, okay? Most of our classes are around 16, but there's a couple that get a little bit bigger. Pro seminar is bigger because it's required and everyone has to take it in their first semester. And the GIS class tends to be rather large because so many students want to take that. But otherwise, our classes are around 18 students because we want the professors to get to know you. We want you to have that one-on-one opportunity in the classroom. Typical majors, there is no typical major for us. Certainly biology, geology, environmental studies, earth science, that kind of thing. But also economics, political science, criminal justice. We have students coming in from all different backgrounds. You have to just show that you have an interest in this field and that you have a goal of where you want to go. And that's part of the essays, right? International students, these are some of the countries that our students are from right now, and it's about 15% of our student body is international students. Okay. And then some questions that a lot of our international students ask. All concentrations are STEM. All right, so that means that you are eligible for curriculum practical training, which means that you can get paid internships here in the US as a student, both during the semester and in the summertime. And after your graduation, you're eligible for optional practical training, which means that you can get a job in the US, paid positions in the US after you graduate, and you get the extended time that's available to STEM students. So you get the extra time. So yeah. Where do our students go after they graduate? Well, they go everywhere because we have so many concentrations. And then even within each concentration, you can go in so many different directions, right? You can go nonprofit, you can go government, you can go, there's just so many different areas. So this is just a small list of some of the places where our students are. And I think Sally posted in the chat room a little while ago, a link to we have like alumni stories. And we had a big thing for our 20th anniversary where we had students from, most of the alumni stories are local, where students are local because it's part of a magazine that we advertise in, so it's a local magazine. But we also, for our 20th, we did examples from around the world where our students outside of Philly. Okay, so there's a lot of great stories there as well. All right. Now, next steps. And by the way, you guys have asked some really great questions in the chat room. I'm sorry I took longer than I expected, but our application deadline for fall, that's an August start. We start at the end of August, is April 1st. And if we also have a spring admission, so if you're thinking about maybe starting in January rather than August, that deadline is November 1st. I'm not sure that application is open quite yet for 2022, but it should be opening soon. But you can definitely reach out and we can get you the date if that's what you're interested in doing. Okay. Requirements for the application include the LPS application. It's online. And there are 3 essays. The first one is how did you become interested in the environment? That's the first essay. The second essay is what would you like to do while you're at Penn? Right? Like what kinds of things, like I gave you lots of examples of what students do here, and you could give some examples. And then the third essay is what would you like to do with your degree once you get it, right? Where do you want to go next? So those are the 3 essays, and I think that they hold a lot of sway with the faculty that review the application. So we have a committee that reviews each application, and I think that that's a big one for them is the essays. Okay. Application fee, official transcripts from all of the colleges and universities you've attended, a resume. Okay. We do require GREs. We will occasionally waive a GRE requirement if there's some unusual circumstances. And for some students that have been out of school for more than 5 years, and they have 5 years of professional experience, we can also waive it. The way that you would do that is you would email us. You can email, I think, LPS at SAS. I think Sally can put that in there. And ask for a waiver. Say, hey, I have 5 years plus of experience. Here's my resume. Can I get a waiver? And we can do that. But the GRE is a really helpful gauge for our faculty committee. So if you've already taken it or you're going to take it, that's really good. It's helpful as they're looking at your application. And then there's the test of English fluency, the TOEFL score, or IELTS. Either one is acceptable. For anyone whose their first language is not English. Okay, so if your first language is English, you don't have to do the TOEFL exam, but if it's your second language or third language or whatnot, then we ask that you take the English proficiency exam for the application. You can apply for a waiver by emailing LPS if there's some consideration that you would like to have. We do not waive the application fee normally. That's yeah, we don't. I don't think. Okay. And the last one is 2 letters of recommendation. They can be from professors if you're just out of college or you keep in touch with your professors from college. If you've been out for a while and that's not, you don't keep in touch, that's okay. You can use supervisors, colleagues, that sort of thing as your recommendation. So someone who can attest to the fact that, you're a good student and that you have an interest in the environment. That's always helpful. All right. You can do a third letter, absolutely, Catherine. There's an option to put in a third letter on the application, so you can go ahead and do that, and it will be read by the committee. Yeah, they get the whole thing as a package from the admissions office. So once the admission office gets everything that's required, they then forward it to us, and then we send it out to the committee. The committee, each faculty member renders a decision separately, and then they submit their decisions, and then we tally up the votes, and then we let you know what they decided. We're also, I think, almost always, except for maybe if you submit right at the deadline, we will get you a response within about 10 days. That's 10 business days from when you submit your application, and we get all your materials. So you may submit your application, say, tomorrow, but we're still waiting on a transcript or a recommendation. That means we haven't gotten it yet. So you may have submitted it, but we haven't gotten it yet in our department. Once we get it in our department, our faculty are really diligent about trying to get you a response within 10 days. Okay. And let's see, other things, financing your education. I know there were a bunch of students asking about that. We do not have scholarships or research assistant positions typically in the department. We do have TA positions. These are semester to semester, so you apply each semester for a TA position. That's a teaching assistant. It pays $1,000 a month rather than covering tuition. So it doesn't cover the tuition, but it might help cover your living expenses. A lot of our students get subsidized student loans through or student loans through either if you're a U.S. citizen, you can fill out the FAFSA form and you can see if you're eligible for subsidized loans, or you can get through a regular bank, like your local bank or whatnot. International students, unfortunately, those subsidized student loans aren't available to you because it's just a U.S. government thing, but check with your own country. You may have opportunities there to get loans. Company tuition benefits. A lot of our students pay for their program through their company's tuition benefit system. Some students get external scholarships. We've had students come in with NSF, SWEP, Gates Foundation, other places like that. We do have funding, like I said, for TA positions. We have funding for students to do their capstone research, to go to conferences, that sort of thing. But the actual tuition, we don't have anything presently for that. Okay. And I see that we've kind of run out of time, but if you have any quick questions before we go. And then if you're interested, you can follow us on Twitter or Facebook. All right, well, if that's it, thank you so much for coming today. And we will get these, the video out to you, and the, hopefully you have the link to Box. So we'll have a link to this video in there, plus the slide presentation as well in that box for you. And I think we'll send out a follow-up email also just to let you know. All right. Wonderful. And we'll